One day, not so very long ago, a question formed in my head. What if my shop was an inventory? What if it was really a collection? You see, when I first started selling vintage, I thought that progress meant more sourcing, more categories, more listings. And for a long time, I really believed that if I just kept adding things, momentum would eventually catch up with me. But that's not actually what happened. My shop was growing, and yet it didn't feel better, it didn't feel clearer, it didn't feel more intentional. It just felt busier. And one day, I was browsing my own shop, not in Shop Manager, but on the Etsy selling app, just like a customer would. And I remember thinking, I don't actually like what I'm seeing. Not because the items were bad, but because I wasn't seeing any relationship between the pieces I had listed in my shop. In case you're new here, I'm Carol, and I've been running my shop, V Vintage Collectibles, on Etsy for a little over 3 years now. And on this channel, I talk about how I run my shop, not just the tactics, but the mindset shifts that have made the biggest differences for me. Now, for a long time, I thought of myself as an inventory manager. My job was to find anything that seemed like a good deal and try to turn it into a sale. So I sourced whatever I thought might sell, and also what I thought was a good deal, what was cheap, what could I make money on. I sourced books, textiles, wooden items, little figurine, even vintage sheets, children's items. It was very garage sale energy. And the exact moment that something felt off was when I realized that I had around 30 little golden books listed in my shop at about $8 a piece. They weren't bad items, and they did sell fine. But when I scrolled through my shop, I felt this sudden disconnect. It didn't look like a shop. It looked like a random assortment of things. And that was the first time I really realized that I didn't want a shop full of just fine. I wanted a shop with identity. I wanted it to feel refined and intentional. So I made this subtle little shift in how I saw my own role. I stopped being an inventory manager, and I started thinking more like an editor. Being an editor meant not replacing certain items or categories once they sold, deleting things that I just didn't feel like belonged in my store, and in some cases just letting go of things that were perfectly okay but wrong for my shop. So I pulled out and sold my little golden books in my antique booth. I stopped sourcing books and textiles altogether. I stopped listing small items, mostly. I still do have Wade Whimsies, but those are pure profit at this point. The time investment just didn't make sense anymore. That means I stopped sourcing most mugs, single drinking glasses. Of course, if I can find certain mugs, like Hadley mugs, I do source them because they sell at a high enough price to make it worthwhile. And I had to choose a real direction forward, not broader, not more, but clearer. So I basically chose vintage decor, wedding and anniversary pieces, barware and stemware sets, Christmas seasonal decor, but limited to certain types of items. I don't just carry anything that's Christmas. And just for this year, I do have a large selection of America 250 bicentennial patriotic decor items. But that's really about it. So take a look at a screenshot of a few of my early sales. I'm embarrassed to even show these. The items feel scattered, like they could be from completely different shops. Now, look at my recent sales. The photos vary, but the shop finally looks like a collection. And the interesting thing is, once I shifted to this mindset, sourcing actually got easier, not harder, because now I don't even look at things outside my own categories. I'm not tempted to try random items anymore. I don't buy things like children's vintage, like little cups and saucers, or toys or dolls or character glasses. Although I've sold a lot of Papa Smurf glasses, I no longer carry those. And there's just a host of other items that just don't fit the vibe of my shop, and I quit sourcing them. Even when something is cute or nostalgic, I ask one question: does this belong in my collection? And if the answer is no, I don't buy it. And over time, patterns have naturally emerged in my shop because I'm drawn to mid-century, some 80s and 90s. Occasionally, I'm able to find true antiques at a price that makes sense for reselling. But besides that, I focus on crystal, glass, metals, ceramics. And also, I stopped carrying single one-off type items. Like now, I just carry sets, candlestick sets for the most part. You will find some single candlesticks in my store. Cream and sugar sets, stemware in sets, barware in sets, and my curated bundles. Even visually, I treat my shop like one cohesive space. My thumbnails coordinate, my backgrounds and product photos are consistent, and I do change my shop banners quite often, but I always like to have something that fits the rest of the page if somebody is scrolling down through my shop. I want somebody browsing in my shop to feel like, I know what kind of place this is, not what am I looking at here. This mindset changed how I write and photograph everything. Titles, I am trying to make them shorter so that they're more acceptable for Etsy's new expectations. I start with antique or vintage. I tell the maker, I tell what it is. I try to make it very clear, identifiable, searchable. In my descriptions, I give full identifying info. I tell the condition, the measurements, and I try to tell a story about how it might be used, where it belongs in someone's life. Now, I don't always put those same things in the same order. I try to stick to somewhat of a formula so that returning customers might think, oh yes, this is the way V Vintage Collectibles describes their items. As far as the photos, I do use the same gray-black background, all initially photographed in my photo light box, which I did not even have in my early days of selling. The light box assures consistent lighting, and then I process them through the Product Photos app in Canva. And I use styled shots that should make potential buyers think that these items might even be living together in the same house. Even my shop sections have changed. I don't remember what my early shop sections were, and there's really no way for me to go back and figure it out. But you can see here, whichever side I decide to put it on, now I basically stick to materials-based or occasion-based section titles. But please, I am not saying here that you should have the same section titles that I have, because your sections should reflect what is in your shop. It should make sense for the vibe of your own shop. And the biggest shift was not about fewer listings, it's about more intentional listings. So this is one of my older listings when I was still very much in my early Etsy seller phase. At the time, I thought I was doing everything as right or as well as I could, at least according to some people I was watching on YouTube telling me how to do Etsy. I had a clear title, lots of keywords, only a few photos though, no video, and a description that technically told the buyer what the item was, but didn't make the item feel special. In fact, for a long time, I even used to repeat the title in the description. I'm not sure where I got the idea to do that, but I think I just couldn't think up enough stuff to say, so I tucked the title back into the description too. If you look closely, most of this description is actually just labels. It's brand name, item size, condition, and then more of the same, repeated again. There's nothing wrong with any of that. There's also nothing there that really helps a buyer imagine this piece in their home. I'm describing what it is, but not why it's special, and certainly not how it fits into someone's life. I guess I used to think that that didn't matter, or I guess it was more like I didn't even know that it mattered. I assumed that people were searching, scanning, and buying based on facts alone. And if you watch a lot of those videos about SEO on Etsy, that is kind of where you get led to believe. Now let me show you one of my listings from today. This is a current listing. The structure is completely different, even though I'm still selling one single object. I'm not trying to fit as many keywords into the title as I can. I'm showing a lot more photos. I have videos for all of my listings now, and I also include more photos that are really graphics that would lead someone to someplace else in my shop. Now in my descriptions, I still use the facts, of course, size, origin, condition, but now those are supporting details, not the main event. The description starts with how the piece feels, the color, the shape, the texture, the overall presence. I'm trying to help that buyer picture it in a space before I ever talk about measurements. And notice I'm not repeating keywords over and over again anymore. Instead, I'm telling a small story about that object, what kind of home it belongs in, what kind of mood it creates, and why someone might choose this piece instead of another similar piece. Now, I don't have a spreadsheet or data that proves any of this, but I know how my shop feels to browse now. Calmer, clearer, more like a real store, even a boutique, rather than a resale pile. And that alone changes how people experience it. Today, my shop feels more like something I'm building, not just something I'm running, not just things I'm flipping. And that has changed how sustainable this feels. From time to time, I can step back. I can deactivate seasonal items. I can deactivate my Florida inventory when I go to Michigan and deactivate my Michigan inventory when I return to Florida. Nothing collapses. It aligns with my life and my circumstances. It also aligns with how I think about vintage. Not frantic, not pieced together, not trend chasing, and not all consuming. And when I look at my reviews, what stands out isn't how much I'm selling. It's comments like this, exactly as described. A beautiful piece. Can't wait to use this on my wedding cake. I would purchase from this shop again. And package with care. Those are not growth metrics, my friends. They are trust metrics. And that's the difference between building a shop and building a collection. Thanks for being here today.